Boom. What's good, man? We on a deadline. It's your boy Jeds. I'm back. My 2pence. You know, weekly, dropping of my opinions and whatnot. Speaking on topical issues. You know the rundown. Big up Maverick on the ones and twos. Cue the music. Right, so we're gonna get straight into it. First and foremost, big up my broski, 9-5 Crip. Big up 9-5 Crip, man. Me and him go way back. You know, from the same area, grew up together kind of thing. So yeah, so he's done a video entitled Africans versus Caribbeans, something. First and foremost, Africans versus Jamaicans. So first and foremost, like there's been like a documentary that came out about the Black Divide, and I think I'm gonna do a sit down and I'm gonna watch it and commentate on that. I ain't done that for a long time, so I'm gonna do a proper review on that, probably maybe tonight or tomorrow. So that look out for that, right? But I saw the brother watched it, 9-5 Crip watched it, and he's given his 2pence on it. And I just wanted to add to it.
Everyone knows our thing's strong. Everyone knows our culture's mad. Our culture comes on a madness. Even the very words, man, am I talking on the road right now, that comes from man's culture, yeah? Man, them know our thing's strong. We don't need no Somalian youth to tell us that. But at the end of the day, we're expecting to bring it to the light. We know our thing's pepper. It's just the dormant man them now, especially the dormant English-born Jamaicans that I'm waking up here and saying, fuck you, fight for your culture. Where the fuck you gonna let your team just be eroded like that? Are we gonna sit back and let our culture just be eroded? You understand? And taken advantage of. You understand? We can't have that no more, my G. Yeah? Them two tick videos there upset me because like if they can see it, what about us dormant Jamaican English born? We can't see that. Understand? I respect that. The other you talking about Northwest ain't the same. Nowhere ain't the same, bad man. Bad man, nowhere's the same no more. As English-born Jamaicans, it's even hard for us to find a pocket of a community again. You understand? This is why we're rebuilding, fam, yeah? Remember, I've been the ambassador for the Jamaican thing, yeah? The English-born Jamaican thing from morning. Yeah, so man's talking about rebuilding, man, I have to talk my direction, innit? Rebuild that. I'm on that table of rebuilding, yeah, the English-born Jamaican heritage as well, innit? Despite of the community building man does and the love for the other man them or whatever, but I'm still rebuilding my thing as well. When I see these videos, it pains me to know that other people can notice this thing as well. Yeah, and we can all see it. I've gone to certain communities. My nan used to come from Northwest Kilburn, my mum's mum. Yeah, certain man's area. I'm not even gonna talk too much, but my mum's mum came from up them ends. It's different. When you got any ends now, different. Northwest and that, all my uncles, my people, them, it's different up there. You understand? Even South London, you go certain spots. I remember walking up and down Shumat Road. You get me? You can't even feel the Jamaican presence when you walk up and down Shumat Road again. Yeah, and what we're saying is no disrespect to any other nation, but I'm talking about my thing and my people's thing, innit? So when we can't see nothing, oh my God, you understand? And our thing's been eroded like this, then right now, it's the time to wake up, yeah? All the dormant man them, Jamaican man them, Jamaican sisters them, the English-born Jamaican sisters them, yard-born Jamaican, Canadian-born, I don't care where the fuck you're from. It's time to reclaim your rascal culture, yeah? Reclaim that, yeah? Everyone's got their culture, we're happy with that. We're gonna rebuild our thing though. That's what's gonna happen, yeah? So, you get me, man, no, we got the Somali youth again anyway, it's the spit of facts, you know, cause that's what you said, innit? A lot of man and the African man them don't want to say that. A lot of African man won't say that, you know, but they know that, because they're living, you understand that the people them are living off the trauma that my four parents had to go through here, you understand, in the 40s, 50s and that. Now, man, people can be living now, innit? And just not even having that sort of trauma, so we should get more of a big up. That's facts, that's not even a question. And we used to, you know, we used to get that. We used to get that, but just in this modern thing, we're not, I don't know, the change that, man don't want to say that, innit? Man don't want to promote the thing or big up the thing or say where half of their thing comes from or say this is where their swag comes from, or, you get me? This is just the realest of the realest, and we all know, so I love the man them pointing it out, and these are conversations that need to be had, innit? Like, what the fuck, are we escaping conversations that need to be had? We all know that there's a divide. You get me? In the UK, black culture. You understand? You got Africans against Jamaicans, you got this against that, you got this. You get me? We know this. We're not, you get me? We're not stupid and we're not trivial. Listen, honesty is everything. We're not gonna lie and hide and act like we don't know what's going on. I know certain bloggers who are hiding, not attack the facts, and you get sit down and have them conversations. Yeah, but what it is, remember, this ain't an against thing, this is a rebuilding thing. And if you're gonna rebuild, you have to start where the truth is. You understand? And I've got African bridges, innit? I've got people that I know that's African, innit? Like, so it's at the same time we have to know the truth and rebuild the truth, innit? You understand? And rebuild from the truth, I should say. Yeah, and we want the props that we deserve, innit? Yeah, we want the props that we deserve, man. We're not just gonna sit back on that and just allow our culture to be eroded like that. And this is the time for rebuilding now, innit? Yeah, and a lot of these Jamaican man them as well, the English-born ones as well. Like, I don't know where it is, but you man need to fix up. Cause that we can never get together fully without some sort of bad mind or passer going on, or you get me, man's looking at option. We can't sit down on a table if man's gonna be like that. That's why our things been eroded, because the niggas like you, niggas like that, who erode our own culture, they're killing man from within. We got our own English-born Jamaican man them killing us from within. That's what's going on, you get me? And these are the sort of people that are stopping growth. Yeah, you niggas gotta stop all of that. You niggas gotta start rebuilding and think about rebuilding. Get me? Anyway, we don't wanna rebuild with no evil, unclean-hearted people out there. You understand? This table is just for the realists, you understand? That's what it is. So the community, I'm calling out all the Jamaican community right now. Yeah, especially the UK-born ones. Fix up your thing, man, and rebuild your culture and regain your culture. Yeah, and reclaim what's yours.
So first and foremost, his main issue is that Jamaican identity, he calls it culture, I would say identity, yeah, is kind of being eroded, and the Jamaican community is less dense. There's less strongholds that you could say, oh, it's a Jamaican area or it's a Jamaican stronghold, and it's more integrated with different people. Now the funny thing is, when us black folk first came to England, that's what the white people were saying, right? And then a thing called the white flight took place, where it was like, yeah, there's jungle bunnies everywhere, mango munches everywhere, my kids are minority in their own area, I'm not growing up like this, crime's gone through the roof, very rare, let's run. So they ran for the hills, they ran to Luton, they ran to like, you know, past Lewisham and that, if you're from South London, they ran up there, going towards Blue Water, Bromley, you know, they ran to Essex, you know, white flight. So it was like a whole white migration, based on not wanting to integrate or wanting to mingle or not being happy with their lot in their country, right? And I feel like, cool, that's understandable. You don't have to be around whoever. But for us, whether you be Caribbean or English, Caribbean or African, depending on what you identify as, or if you identify as both, I think for us it's a bit different, because running away from each other based on minute differences is dumb. Segregating ourselves, there's not enough of us. We don't even make up 5% of this population. So segregating ourselves and trying to do the extra divide, and like, so feeling like, so boom. So sorry, I had a phone call, right? So basically what I'm saying is, we're too small of a minority to separate ourselves from each other. Yeah, we're gonna have to learn to be harmonious. I think one of the complaints is, you know, when you go down Peckham, Shummock Road, you don't see the Jamaican presence that there used to be. And I'm like, I can't say yes or no. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I know many of my Jamaican friends and their families have lived, born, raised in Peckham and are still there. In terms of business-wise, I know that Jamaicans and Africans historically have struggled to establish long-lasting businesses and create generational wealth and enable the next generation to inherit from them in our own community. So that's been a historical thing. I think the scale slides. So maybe there were more, because I grew up in Peckham. There weren't a bag of Jamaican shops in Peckham in the first place. Do you know what I mean? There was a mix. There was one or two. The African shop, you know, would be out there selling their food. There'd be a hairdresser here, hairdresser there, barber here, barber there. In the barbers, like the main barbers we had in Peckham, Dave's International, it was African and Caribbean barbers, you know, intermixed, next side by side, friends, chair by chair. So I feel like in general, the black community, if you wanna use that umbrella term, has not been able to exploit the markets that they could have, and have not had be able to make a foothold in the commercial scene of the area that we live in. And I think that's due to many things. Now we have gentrification, so you know Peckham is trendy. Where it was a no-go zone, where it was dangerous, Peckham's now trendy, and the white folks with money have come in and they're doing their thing. They may be more African shops than they used to be. But one thing I want to make clear is the rise of popularity or the rise in cultural identity or cultural pride in one group should not make the other group feel like they need to battle or clash or counteract. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit of that sentiment. It's like when the Caribbean, Jamaican, namely, culture was prominent in the black community, that's because of, you know, like obviously we know Windrush and things like that. And I think other communities, in not just African, but other Caribbean communities, they felt like they were marginalized. And plus the popular culture was what it was, and people like what they like. So I grew up to ragga. Do you know what I mean? My St. Kitts, my St. Lucian brethren grew up to ragga, bashment, dancehall, whatever you want to call it. And it's always been that. So that's always been the culture we were born into, so to speak, or the landscape we were born into was prominent Jamaican slangs and blah, blah, blah. As people establish themselves and find their own confidence and are encouraged to draw from their own heritage, the playing field's gonna look different, because you now have Grenadans, you now have St. Lucians, Bajans, you now have Nigerians, Sierra Leone, Congolese, and they are now coming with a new oomph. The new generation's coming with a new oomph, and that doesn't mean that the Jamaican culture is lesser. In fact, I still feel that it's still the popular culture. Now, the issue is, my big issue with this whole thing is the things that are being popularized about people's cultures are not necessarily the good things about people's cultures. I love music, I love food, cool. We all got music, we all got food. But we can't skirt around the glorification of things like badmanism. Now, in that documentary, it kind of goes into that, where the media highlighted Jamaican culture, but it highlighted what may be seen as negative aspects of people's culture, because it suited them to demonize black men, black masculinity. So to tie it hand in hand with criminality was a genius move to them, and the fact that we celebrated it. Now, this is the truth. There's no other culture at that time that was celebrating being a bad man, being a bad boy, being a rude boy, being a wicked man. Yeah? Even the language in itself, it weren't being celebrated in other people's cultures, right? So the gangsterism or the badmanism came hand in hand with what people believed to be Jamaican identity. And when you saw Jamaicans latch onto that, some Jamaicans latch onto that, it confused those from the outside that didn't realize how conservative Jamaican culture actually can be. The conservative aspect, yeah, the church going, nuclear family, promoting, education pushing aspect of Jamaican culture was kind of marginalized for Ninja Man, or for, you know what I mean, gun fingers and like. I hope that you lot are not taking what I'm saying wrong, but I feel like clearly Jamaicans have had a part to play in perpetuating the negative stereotypes, the yardie thing, the rare. We with education understand that there's way more to Jamaican culture. Do you know, like, I've hardly seen a Jamaican when I was growing up turn around and celebrate, you know, like the maroon culture or when the Jamaicans were saying we're African and Ethiopian, bare people was burning that out. They weren't really trying to get to the heritage. They weren't really trying to be on that. Badmanism was what was the lick. That's why you're all going crazy for Vybz Kartel, who's come out after allegedly murdering someone or whatever. We're all celebrating him and everyone's buying tickets to go and see him, and we can't wait for him to come over here. So I know that's probably not 9-5 Crip. He's a way more conscious brother. But at the same time, the badmanism is what was pushed. And in an African household, in a Nigerian household, you weren't going to be able to display that badmanism and get props from Mumsy. Mumsy was going to crack down on you. Like, but you know what? I'm just reiterating stuff that's already in that documentary, because I noticed that the documentary maker picked up on that aspect of things. So I just wanted to say, like, when it comes like, these men ain't giving their credit of where they got their swag from and whatnot, like, that's a scarcity mindset in my eyes, in my ideal. Yeah, there's enough culture coming out of Jamaica that the Jamaicans can pick up and promote, other than the thing that they think is being marginalized, because all the swag and all the things that we all pick up and we all integrate and put into this big pot all seems to be mainly negative aspects of our cultures. African culture, Nigerian, Ghanaian, whatever. The negative aspects of it are the things that we latch onto. American culture was the overarching culture that I feel like we all drew from. And mainly, being a young black boy in Peckham, mainly from America, I took gangsterism, gang culture, elements of hip hop that was like debauchery, alcoholism, drug abuse, profanities. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was lots of these elements. I reckon that smarter people than me and you and us have realized that in this group of people, these subsections of people, as different as they think they are, they have one defining link. And that defining link is the rebellious nature. We have a rebellious nature. We have a rebellious thread, yeah, that puts us at odds with authority for good reasons, historically, for good reasons, right? And I think that the authorities saw that and thought, you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that rebellious culture and we're gonna promote it as being bad. So where you had an issue with authority, they would turn that into criminality. Do you know what I mean? Where you wanted to express yourself, they would turn that into profanity or lewdness or whatever. So I hope I'm making sense. So anyway, big up 9-5 Crip. What he's saying is he wants to see more people supporting things like Independence Day. For a man like me, I feel like none of our nations are independent. So it's just folly. It's just bread and circuses for us. Personally, I do believe in building. I do believe in. I support the Jamaican effort to promote positive aspects of their culture and to encourage like ownership, yeah, and even if they're gonna monetize of it for black people to benefit from monetizing off the culture. When we look at things like Notting Hill Carnival, is a good example, right, of how we're ferrying in Red Bull and Red Stripe and all these non-black owned companies, non-Caribbean owned companies to come and sponsor us. We give Radio One the biggest spot in the whole carnival. It's not homegrown. It doesn't benefit either of any of us. And rather than complaining about those things, I'm seeing people complaining about hearing Afro beats in carnival. So I'm just saying, it's very easy to pit us against each other when we're not actually the issue. Like this whole Jamaican Nigerian divide, I don't know where that was. I'm not sure where that was. I know that some people would want to call me a bubble, and some artists would want to be like, don't go and follow those jamos. Yeah, all built on stereotypes. Calling me fresh off the boat, or calling my mum fresh off the boat, or whatever because she spoke with an accent. Turning our nose up at smells and sights that were non-Europeanized was a clear sign of colonialism. Looking down at our brothers and sisters and deeming them to be majority criminals and whatever was brainwashing by the media to make us look at each other like, yo, But at the same time, when you step out your yard, when you step out your house, and a man's calling himself a yardie and going on with certain things, it was helping to reiterate certain stereotypes for the older generation who were removed. I'm first generation in England. Do you know what I mean? My mum was not born here. I'm the first in my family to be born in the UK, right? And she had no idea of what the climate was like outside the house. Her thing was, I'm in England now, everything's going to be great, drop my son to school, they're going to teach him what he needs to know, and he's going to come back, and we're going to send him church on a Sunday. That was her aspect. She wasn't integrated. She didn't know, do you know what I mean? And our elders and those that came before us didn't do the greatest job at integrating us as people. That's facts. So, but now as we get on, there's so many Nigerian, Jamaican children running around and rare. I just feel like we've kind of gone past looking at each other with a side eye, and now it's either you want to learn about each other's culture or you don't. If you want to learn about Jamaica, then stay away from dancehall. Don't make dancehall be your go-to. Go and look at the cultures. Go and look at, go and link up with the Maroons and these people. Go and see true history. And also Jamaicans push that. Push that more than anything. Push that. That's your duty. So I feel like, to add on what 95 Crip was saying, your duty is to actually push the other aspects of the culture that are not widely sung about, not widely known, and counteract the stereotypes. And yeah, I'm with you. I stand with you when it comes to standing firm in your heritage, reveling in your heritage, and promoting it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think that we need to look at the Africans or the Polish. Cause I saw something talking about, there's bare Polish. This is not 95 Crip, this is someone else. There's bare Polish people in the area now, and like where there's no. And I'm like, let the Polish people live, man. This is England. This is England. This is the land of the colonizer, where they went around and made it their business to interfere with everyone else's shit. Now the chickens have come home to roost. Don't fight amongst each other. Get what you can. You're looking for a sense of identity behind enemy lines. I commend you. But more importantly, encourage people to repatriate. Encourage people to galvanize their funds and build back home, wherever that is. And if you feel Africa's your home, build in Africa. If you want to go to Jamaica and help in the economy, help over there. But we can't be in any way, shape or form seen to be making each other the enemy or the blame or the excuse of why certain things ain't going in. Right? So I just wanted to put that out there. Big up 95 Crip. Go watch his content. You get me? It's my brother. And I tried to invite him down for a pod so we could sit down and have a great conversation about it. But it's not happening. Not yet. You get me? He's, you know what I mean? He's going to take his time. But when he does, because I told him I disagree with some of the things he was saying, but I also agree with a hell of a lot. I agree with way more than disagree with him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that being said, the Jamaican versus African narrative is one that I think clearly is divisive and clearly is being weaponized to keep people off kilter. We're just rounding the corner. We're just turning a corner when it comes to black identity, black pride, and black da-da-da. We're just turning a corner where it's not just now you Jamaicans that are proud to be Jamaicans. The Kenyans are proud to be Kenyan, and they're in the UK and they're shouting it loud. The Ugandans are proud to be Ugandan. Now is not the time to start infighting and creating subtle xenophobia in a land that's not us, that's not ours. So if Peckham or Brixton is no longer a Caribbean stronghold, or Harlesden is no longer a Caribbean stronghold, that's a shame. But let's evaluate what are the causes. And the causes are our elders did not invest. Our elders bought houses, then sold them and fucked off. Didn't hand down housing, didn't hand down business, didn't hand down much, whether due to their own fault or not. But we have not inherited much from those that came before us. So don't be mad. And plus, it's a political plan to keep people from creating strongholds that can cause a problem in the long run. So do you know what I mean? I don't know what the answer is. Maybe the answer is, say, you know what, let's all just start moving to Hull. I've just picked Hull as a dumb. Let's all start moving to Hull, and there's enough of us. Do you think that's a good idea, Raven?
Boy, they'll move out if you go there, bro. Get me.
Right, they'll move out, but is it a good idea for us to go to I shouldn't say us. Like, say we're talking about Jamaicans. Would you advise Jamaicans to like up and go to one area to fill it?
It's an idea for a strategy. It's an idea. Isn't it? As in to economics and buildings and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be an idea.
Could be an idea.
Could be an idea. But then the thing is, people, their mind's not there. You have to have a campaign to get that. They even think about them kind of things. Plus, it will cause issues with the people who live there already.
It'll cause issues. But okay, look. This is going to be a stick a pin. This is going to be a topic on the podcast. Big up, man, like Raven in the building. Yeah, so we're going to have a good pod with Raven in a bit, man. We can expand on these points. Please remember that, yeah? All right, boom. Just a quick little side mission, right? So there's an interview, American interview. Chinese guy comes on there and he starts basically addressing the American people. And this is to do with tariffs. The tariff things that's going on. Trump is bringing in tariffs against certain countries, namely China. China's counteracting with their own tariffs, and people are being encouraged to look at the Chinese people as the big bad wolf. And what this man is saying is, America and China have both benefited from trade. But what happened was, in his opinion, was that the Chinese people invested their profits into China and into the Chinese people, into closing the poverty gap. Whereas in America, the money was hoarded. People was going on golf courses and buying mansions, and, you know, the working class remained, like, you know, on the bottom rung, hardly being able to survive, and they created a wider class gap. So he's schooling people on the fact that his words are, America doesn't need tariffs, it needs a revolution. You need to get rid of your ruling class.
You thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs ship your job to China. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodged tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnant wages, crippling healthcare cost, cheap dopamine, debt, and flagged wave property made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies while they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
Now, he has a point. We've been hearing for years now that China is cheating, that they've rigged the system, broken the rules, stolen their way to prosperity. You'll hear terms like forced technology transfers, intellectual property theft, state subsidies, dumping, currency manipulation. And yes, these are serious issues. But if we really want to understand what happened over the last 30 years, why America lost millions of good-paying jobs, why our infrastructure is collapsing, why theirs is rising, why China now leads the world in manufacturing EVs and high-speed rail, we need to look past the slogans and ask the uncomfortable question, is China really cheating, or did our own elites simply sell us out?
Now, anyone that knows me knows that this is a rhetoric that got right up my fucking street. Do you know what I mean? Anarchists, let's tear it all down. Yeah! You know what I mean? Yeah! Revolution. But it kind of ties in a little bit with what I was saying in the first bit about black heritage, Jamaican heritage being eroded and whatnot. And then the finger pointing. We're always looking for a boogeyman. But we never look for those that actually control policy. We're I feel like our revolutionary social battery has died. Yeah, or is on a low ebb. People don't have the appetite for challenging the power structure. We have an appetite for challenging each other or challenging someone that looks different over there and blaming them and whatever, but we don't challenge the power structure. And that's in Africa, in the Caribbean, America, UK, whatever. So we end up pointing the finger at someone else on ground level and saying, you are the bad guys. Or we point the finger at some boogeyman all the way over there that we can't identify and they're the bad man. But we don't think the person we voted for or the people that are supposed to be running our society are the bad people. And I feel like it's better that we wake up before we're forced to wake up. It's better that you wake up naturally than being jolted out your sleep. Yeah, and I think as human beings, we need to get used to the fact that it's time we start making decisions for ourselves. It's time we start seeing ourselves as socially adult rather than being kept in this perpetual infancy position where we always need a nanny or a mother or a father to guide us. Do you know what I mean? And make decisions for us where we're deemed not mature enough to make our own choices. And I suppose that is supposed to be true democracy. You can't engage in democracy until you are an adult. This is why they don't let children vote. And I think that we're in an infancy state around the world. The little man, the working class, is still in an infancy state when it comes to taking on responsibility and shaping society. So like that's a real quick one because I know I'm gonna probably played the video already, but everything that Chinese man was saying in my eyes is pure facts, but it's also common sense. And it's a little bit shocking that you need an outsider to come and point that maybe this is how it works. Sometimes the outsider has a clearer vision. Do you know what I mean? But it's time to take control and time to stop blaming and looking for boogeymen, because essentially our consent is the reason why we live in the world we do. Whether our consent has been manipulated or hid or like, you know, what's the word? Maybe we've been victims of suggestion, you know what I mean? But whatever it is, ultimately, it's the choices we're making that's empowering others over us. And I want people to really take away that the bucket needs to stop at us, and we need to actually stand up and make choices that's going to benefit us and our children and our family and our cultural group or racial group or or whatever in the long run, in the future. So yeah, get involved and do more for yourself. But big up the Chinese man that came to spit some truth. Men on average overestimate their ability to fight by 400%.
A new report by the Department of Health and Human Services has found that the average male is 4,000% less effective in fights than he imagines, casting powerful doubts on many men's claims that they could take someone out in 2 seconds or smash a guy's face in with their fist.
We found that on average, men describing hypothetical fights overestimated their level of combat skill by a factor of 40, with 80% of males incorrectly predicting they could mess a guy up real bad with one solid punch to the jaw. During actual physical altercations, however, these men were statistically more likely to end up hurting themselves, or, most commonly, trying to diffuse the tension by nervously saying, "Hey man, let's all just calm down, okay?" before any fighting even came to pass.
If some guy ever came at me and I needed to take him down quick, I'd just disorient him with a quick blow to the face, and then I'd knee him in the gut. The trick is to just keep your fist real tight and punch with your knuckles if you really want to fuck somebody up. I mean, you hope it doesn't come to the point where you have to grab a bar stool and smash it over somebody's head, but if he's being a real dick and you need to draw a little blood, you don't really have a choice.
Researchers discovered that men were significantly weaker than they verbally indicated while chatting with friends in bars and locker rooms, and that men who were 90% sure they could tear someone a new asshole tended to succeed in fewer than 1 in 10 fights.
It's hard if a guy's there with his girlfriend or something, because then she has to watch while I take his ass to fucking school, you know? Honestly, I'm scared to get into a fight because I might kill the guy or put him in a wheelchair or something. Man, I hope that never happens.
What do I think of that? I think confidence confidence will get you a long way. Yeah. But actually taking your time out, whatever they say, the 10,000 hours to become an expert at something, I think that's obviously priceless. A lot of us may feel like we don't have the time to do the things that we really want to do. But this is just testament to the fact that overconfidence can actually be a killer. You know? Overconfidence without any tangible proof or even practice in the thing that you're confident about is a bit of a sus move. So yeah, a lot of man them think that they can fight. A lot of man them get knocked out in a couple seconds. A lot of man can't fight for more than 3 minutes or a minute or whatever. So confidence is come from nowhere. It's based on nothing. You ain't even had a fight, but you're sure you can do things. And I notice this a lot because there's a lot of people with confidence that will talk to you online with a certain way. Or even in face-to-face, man will just chat to you in a certain way and feel like they have what it takes to back it. And then when it comes on top, man just lays down, goes in a fetal position, balls up, and that actually makes me the most angry. Like when you think that you're gonna have a fight with this guy and he's chucking it and he's giving it, and then it kicks off and man starts or man starts running. Then that's so infuriating. That make me harm you. That make me harm you. Still, I'm not gonna lie. Just for the lesson. So yeah, I think that we straying from reality a lot. I think that we are in delulu. A lot of delusional people in humans in general, and a lot of us have been watching films and stuff like that, watching boxing and MMA, and we've kind of overestimated what it takes to actually be a master of these crafts, and it takes a lot of discipline. You know, I've personally just started undertaking, a little training, fighting and whatnot. You know, doing some jiu-jitsu and little bits and bobs, right? And the dedication, not even that, the grit that is needed to push through when your heart is pounding at 1,000 miles an hour and your mouth is dry and you're experiencing pain and you've got a live target firing shots back at you, and just to push through that, and that's not even a match. That's why people always say it looks good until you get in the ring. When you get in the ring, you then have a newfound respect. This is why a lot of people that have beef and whatever, they hate each other. They fucking hate each other. Yeah, your mum's this, your dad's that, you're nothing, your family's this, da. Then when they get in the ring and do a couple rounds with each other, whoever wins, the respect between each other goes sky high, usually because they realize something. They realize what it takes to go head to head with someone, to actually enter combat. And I think personally, our youth should be subjected to some kind of rites of passage or obligatory training, especially when it comes to combat. The reason why I say that is because I think a man who was trained in combat, a man that knows what it's like to push himself to the limit, or to be pushed to the limit, finds a level of humility and calmness within his newfound abilities, and it creates that space in between thinking and doing, saying and thinking and saying, thinking and doing. Do you know what I mean? It buys man a little bit of time, and I think then people are a lot more thoughtful. And I think people that are actually trained to fight usually are a lot more humble, a lot slower to react, and seek peaceful solutions more than those that are not trained. They don't know the consequences. And with the epidemic of youth violence and stuff like that, we could really make a big impact on youth violence if a lot of these kids were trained. So even if it was going to come to conflict and combat, the option of it being hand to hand, foot to foot would be a lot higher on the list. People run into swords and knives and guns a lot because fear. And fear means that people will do whatever it takes to survive. Being scared to be punched in the face means that you're going to do whatever it takes not to. And also, when you're trained in combat, you're going to learn that some people are stronger than you. you're gonna learn that someone can beat you up. But if it's your trainer or the world champion of the sport that you've got into, whatever, that levels you out as well. That levels you out as well, and you also learn to not underestimate people. Because I'm telling you, I'm doing jiu-jitsu with a girl who is 22 years old, and yeah, you wouldn't wanna accidentally select her as someone you thought you could victimize, and that just shows you that that the path of humility is always the best path. And I try to exercise that. I've always had that in my chest of trying to be humble when it comes to combat or rare. I'm not quick to hurt people or inflict or utilize my mass or my ability on other people. Despite what the rumors may say about Jedi being a bully, I'm far from a bully. It just happens that a lot of the people that want to chuck it are the ones with small man syndrome. Because tall man, big man, usually they don't want they're trying to be peaceful. I'm not saying that's all the way across the board, but usually you see how two big men don't get in a fight. Because usually two big men know the consequences of them fighting. So they seek other solutions. But the short man or the skinny man, he's the one all fiery and wants to do madness and whatever, very rare. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. 400% more confident in their skills than what they actually have. And that just shows the level of delusion that we have in today's society. But yeah, man, obligatory combat and training for men and females, and I think that we'd see levels of violence plummet. Yeah, especially that spontaneous, like heat of the moment thing. That would fucking plummet, right? Right, yeah. So I just thought it was an interesting story. So I've had a little waffle on that one. I thought it was funny. So let me play the video.
Oh, this come from fasting. All of this come from fasting. What you see, the cure.
How often do you fast? Or do you fast cleanse? Do you fast like what is that fasting? Because I just came off of a good all raw food, all raw vegetable, all raw.
That's not fasting.
Yeah, but
fasting
I'm talking about a cleanse.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm talking about a cleanse. What did or what do you do?
Fasting is when you don't put nothing in your body. Fasting is nothing.
Water.
For how long?
If you want to do that could be considered fasting.
Yeah.
But a dry fast is when you don't eat or drink.
How long you dry fast?
It depends.
You can't do a week of dry fast. You do some days?
I done did, the longest I done never did dry fasting was like close to a month, about 3 weeks. No food, no water.
Come on. How do you?
Okay.
Yeah,
this.
Talk to me.
When your cell breaks in half, it releases hydrogen. What do we breathe in?
Oxygen.
Hydrogen to oxygen is what?
Water.
We create our own water.
Man, I'm going to take your word for it because Lord knows.
Please don't. When our cells break in half, when the body don't have nothing to eat, it start eating up all your bad cells. When your cells break, it releases hydrogen. We breathe in oxygen. The chemical compound for water is hydrogen to oxygen. I'm really a genius, but I just don't be trying to just broadcast that to the world because everybody, like they be like, man, he just used a bunch of big words. The smart person could be dumb, but a dumb person can't be smart. So, you.
So Kevin Gates is a rapper from America. And he's made a claim about fasting. Now, I believe in the benefits of fasting. I've only done one serious fast, 72-hour water fast, and I did that for content. It was like one of my first videos I put up on YouTube of me like doing that style vlog content or whatever. And what I did notice when I did the fasting was that at no point in time did I feel hungry. Not once. What I did do is I felt a lot of cravings. Do you know what I mean? Lots of cravings. Oh, I fancy this, I fancy that. But I thought I'd feel hunger pains. And it just never happened. Just never materialized. So I realized that my eating habits were a lot based on cravings rather than actually being hungry. That being said, Kevin Gates has been asked how he lost all this weight, and he said he fasted. Someone asked him what was the longest. He was quick to differentiate fasting from dry fasting. So dry fasting, nada. Nil by mouth. You get me, right? Kevin, how long do you think Kevin Gates was asked, what's the longest you ever dry fasted? Any suggestions on what he said?
2 days.
2 days?
3 days.
3 days? You're the closest. He says he dry fasted for 3 weeks. Hey, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. So you didn't drink nothing. You didn't drink anything or eat anything for 3 weeks. Yeah, man. This is testament to why you need to be careful of who you follow online and where you get your advice from. Because anybody that tries to follow that, I'm gonna put money on it that you're probably gonna be severely ill, if not lose your life. Because I believe probably the max you can go without water is probably about 5 days. I believe. I could be wrong. Do you know what I mean? But obviously he's found the secret. He was like, oh, what have you got in your system? Something, hydrogen. And what do you breathe? Oxygen. So what happens when hydrogen meets oxygen? Turns into water. So you have an internal source of water. And I was like, I don't know, but this is some... Because I remember seeing this thing about this this guy that says he doesn't eat and he produces like a secretion within his system that he feeds off and rare, and he's just making bare money. They're scamming people. Do you know what I mean? Bit like the Liver King and all these... I don't know why people want to lie about things like that, but I would say, Kevin Gates, you're lying. You didn't go on a dry fast for 3 weeks. I don't know why you would tell people that. That's just a madness. Anyone that hasn't eaten or drank for 3 weeks, you've not ingested anything for 3 weeks and you survived, you need to be studied. You need to be dissected. And you also need to go to the starving countries where there's famine and that and go and teach them your fucking technique. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a madness. So I just thought that was testament to... Don't listen to celebrities. Especially when it comes to health and that. Don't listen to celebrities, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, please stay away from taking too much online advice about things like this, because it could lead you into real danger, right? And I just thought I'd highlight that, because this is the equivalent of like a cowboy builder coming to your grand's house and saying, yeah, don't worry, we can take out these beams. They're fine. They're fine. Yeah, they're just decorative. And next thing you know, the whole house is falling on grandma. Do you know what I mean? Please be careful, because you don't want... Just careful who you follow. Kevin Gates, you're a joker. You get me? You say some wise stuff sometimes or whatever, but that one there, 3 weeks, not drinking, not eating, I don't know. Write in the comments if you think that's possible. Let me know, man. I just thought that was funny. Told you this one's going to be a bit different, man. naturejab.com/solar. Go and check that out. So there's a young African-American, indigenous American, foundational black American, American descendant of slavery, or African, whatever you want to be known as, yeah, because there's a lot of terminologies. I don't want to offend, yeah, but there's a young man over that side of the water who has created a diesel alternative out of plastic waste.
Here, I have plastic diesel. Yeah. A diesel alternative I made from plastic waste. And what we have beside me here, we have two Ford 1997 F-250 Power Stroke 7.3s. And we're gonna put my plastic diesel alternative made from plastic waste inside of the first ever F-250 to run off of plastic waste in Chicago, baby. Yeah. And we're gonna do a side-by-side comparison to see how real diesel does versus my diesel inside of this truck. So Tony, let's go ahead and get this diesel in here. Shot myself.
I got it. Tell us what he's doing.
All right. Plastic diesel is inside of the pail, and we're gonna hook up the fuel hose to it.
He ran the diesel or the truck out of diesel.
Yes, correct? It's out of diesel. It's gonna take a minute to start.
All right, everybody, make our way back to the front. If you want to support my mission to take sunlight and turn sunlight into fuel made from plastic waste. You can go to my GoFundMe here. We're looking to raise $16,000 to get all the solar equipment I need. All right, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Hey, look, I gotta ask. Do you guys think it's gonna run?
Yeah. We know it's gonna run.
All right, Cody, hit it.
You gotta get in the system first. Yeah. Give it a minute. You gotta get in the engine. We're doing it.
History right here, the first ever Ford F-250 to run off of plastic waste right here in Chicago, Illinois, baby. We're gonna see the comparison on how the engines sound, how they run.
Doesn't sound strong to me. Go.
Right? And these guys that do these things, they always seem to end up missing or something happens to them. Protect the brother, yeah? Because, you know what I mean? Protect the brother. He's coming up with revolutionary technology, and every other day I'm seeing some highly melanated individual creating groundbreaking technology. There's the one that solved this, there's one that solved that, there's one that's fixed this, there's one that created a TV that powers itself, one that's created a car that powers itself, one that's created this, and then, I don't know, things seem to happen to these guys. So this guy's created a diesel alternative out of waste plastic, and I just wanted to highlight that and send people to go and look at it and see what the brother's done. If he needs support, if he needs funding, if he needs applause, I don't know. But people need to be screaming about our achievements from the rooftop. And me having a platform, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't use my platform to do that sometimes. So big up that brother. I ain't really got much to say. I ain't really looked into the science too much, but you lot can go and check it out, right? So once again, Black Brother has made a diesel alternative out of plastic waste. And Lord knows how much plastic waste, you could just comb the ocean, yeah, and get so much plastic. So if we can utilize this plastic and it be safe for the environment and also beneficial, then, you know what I mean? Black brothers, get on it. Dr. Umar and all, get me, and all these man them, whoever's got money, the black guys that's got money, Oprah, all these, you know what I mean? Vibes Cartel, I see you bought a mansion. You might want to go and invest in a young brother. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of give back. You might want to invest in a young brother that's doing something other than rapping, or, you know what I mean? I know what I'm saying. Yeah. Big him up. There's this clip, yeah, of a young brother that owns some properties, and he's doing Airbnb. And while he's doing the Airbnb, he's discovered that someone that has rented his property out for me, I don't know, a day, a couple days, whatever, has got, he's a male, has got men going in and out of the property. So this guy is looking on the Ring doorbell, and he's saying to the brother, like, yo, Wagwan, like, what's happening at the property?
From people been going into the apartments.
Ah, okay.
Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
What you just said, there's only one person in the apartment.
Yeah, it's only I.
Yes, hello. Hi, how you doing? Is this Raphael?
Yes.
Hi, Raphael. This is Ezekiel speaking. I'm actually the owner of the property that you're staying in currently.
Ah, okay.
Yes, hello. Out of curiosity, how many people are staying in the apartment?
Only I.
What is happening in the property?
What? I don't understand, sorry.
You don't understand?
No.
No, but you do understand, because I'm saying what is happening in the property, because there's been multiple guys going into the property.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. You send message for me, please.
You don't understand?
No, I don't speak English very good.
No, but you're speaking very well. I can understand what you're saying.
No, I don't understand, sorry.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
No. You asking for me, one people here. Yes, it's my friend.
No, but there's been multiple people going into the apartment.
Oh my God, I don't understand.
Has there only been one other person entering the apartment?
Yes.
So you and one other person, and that's it?
No, no, no. It's only I.
But the concierge said he saw multiple people on the camera. The concierge said that he saw different people going into the apartments.
No.
Are you 100% sure? Because he said that he was going to send security footage to me just to double check. So are you 100% sure? Because again, so we've actually had reports recently. Yeah, again, I don't like to make accusations to anyone. But yeah, the concierge said, again, we've had reports of different like prostitution and things like that from other guests previously. So the concierge said I should make sure I call just to double check, because last time police were actually phoned and police actually came, somebody was actually arrested.
I sent message because my English no is good. I use Google Traductor, okay?
No, it's fine. I can hear you. Just let me know what is happening in the property.
I don't understand, sorry.
Again, if there's been multiple people going, I do have to let you know that police will be called for further investigation.
Okay.
Okay then, no problem. Okay then.
Bye.
Cheers, bye-bye.
Like, why have you got a lot of men? Why have you got men going in and out? And then the man's like, oh, no, speak English. I don't understand. What do you say? So he's saying, who's staying at the property with you? So this guy says, oh, it's just me. So I guess he's posted this video up to say, these are the hardships, these are the difficulties that young landlords, or as a landlord, you can face, right? And my initial thing was, why are you worried about what he's doing while he's renting your property? If he's not smoking in your property and that, are you now taking a moral standpoint on what takes place in your property? And is that wise? Is that even a business approach? You're giving somebody an Airbnb. What do you think people do with Airbnbs? They fucking them. Like, what do you think people are doing? They fuck, they party, they cheat. Do you know what I mean? And some people just use it and sleep. But I feel like using your Ring doorbell to see who's going in and out of property, as long as your property is not being damaged, and you've got your deposit, I feel like you're overstepping the mark. This is just my thing. I feel like even though this guy seems to be doing some kind of gay escorting, do you know what I mean? Like, okay, let's say we don't agree with your lifestyle choices. Cool. But I don't know as a landlord if you even got the right to say anything. Otherwise, just don't rent out your property. I don't know if you got the right to say, well, you can't have men going in and out. Well, why not? Why can't he have men going in and out? He's paying for the property to use it. What clause is it? What clause is the Airbnb saying you only have a limited amount of people that can enter? He's not getting them all to come at they're going one after the other. I don't know. You lot let me know. Am I thinking of it wrong? If I want to rent out my property, do I have the right to tell a man what he's doing in there? Apart from smoking and partying, what right do I have to say? I don't get it. What do you think? Is he not allowed guests in there? If that's the stipulation, you are not allowed any other person in this Airbnb while you're renting it, fair dues. But if that ain't a stipulation, I just thought it was a bit weird that you're filming him, or you're filming your conversation with this guy, and you're basically highlighting the fact that maybe he's got a lot of man going through. What's it to you? Maybe he's giving them massages. Maybe he's doing palm reading. Do you know what I mean? How do you know what he's doing in there? I just thought that was an interesting thing. Just one to think of for all you budding property owners and you landlords and that are considering Airbnb. He's just letting you know that these are some of the perils that you could be facing, or some of the situations you could be facing. Let me know if you think he's in the right to dictate what takes place. You open your doors up for money, for people. Open your doors up is mad. For money is even madder. But if you do, rent out your property for people to use it, do you have the right to ask them what they're doing, whatever, like, or to even have a say on if he wants to, or if she wants to have people going in and out? I don't know, because it seems like prostitutes and things like that are utilizing Airbnb for these services, and then they keep it moving. As long as when you come in, you're not stepping in mayonnaise, you're cleaning, you're changing your sheets. Do you know what I mean? This is why I wouldn't do Airbnb in my house, because I'd want to come back there and sleep, and I don't want other people sleeping in my bed. But people literally rent out their beds and make, like, the bed they sleep in, they rent that house out, one room, rare, and they have strangers come in, and then they just come change the sheets. That's mad. So I don't know what to say, but yeah, I thought I'd bring that up. This is like kind of rudimentary, like kind of basic, but a study showed that in people over 32, that 2 weeks from 2 weeks away from the internet and away from smartphones reversed the aging effects on people's brains, and rejuvenated their brains basically. right?
This 2-week challenge beats therapy, boosts focus, and rewires your brain. No apps, no hacks, just your phone turned off. Seriously, that's it. Put down your phone. This study finds that blocking mobile internet for just 2 weeks improves attention, well-being, and happiness. 91% of people who did this saw benefits, some as much as taking antidepressants or being 10 years younger. The reason? Less doom scrolling, more real-life connection. So here's the takeaway. Your phone isn't the problem. Constant connection is. So try unplugging for a bit and see what happens.
I think we underestimate what this internet is doing to us. A lot of us, we're so deep in because it's part of our earning model, it's part of our earning strategy, using the internet, using the phone. I know me, for one, a lot of people wouldn't think it, but I'm quite anti-technology. It's a stressful thing for me. And I've got myself in a loop where technology is a means of how I make money, right? But I would jump at the chance to come away from that. I would generally jump at the chance to come away from it. And once I've managed to detach myself from my phone, I definitely feel the benefits. It's like, for instance, when I go on holiday and I end up in somewhere where, even though I've got reception, the reception is not the greatest. Like, you know, it just don't really work. You just end up giving up on your phone, like, whatever. And then it's like, you know, free yourself. Like, luckily for me, I was born in an era without phones. Some of you lot watching this, in fact, a lot of you watching this, your birth was captured on the phone. Your birth was filmed on the phone. Your birth pictures was, you get me? A lot of you don't know, your mums had phones. A lot of you don't know what it's like to go to school and not know what's going on in your mum's day, and your mum not know what's going on in your day till you get home. A lot of you don't know what it's like to have a partner and not speak to them for a week because you're working, she's working, and you link up on the weekend and you're just going to turn up at her yard and knock the door. Do you know what I mean? And then have the whole breakdown of what's been going on through the week. Now you've got things to talk about. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people don't have these experiences. The constant advertising, the constant messaging, the constant, what's the word? I'm losing my words nowadays, you know. Yeah, but it's like the constant draw on your attention, the need for you to look at it. Look at me, read me. Notifications, that's a very stressful thing. And it's not actually how life was designed to be. And it's changing our mentalities, it's changing our psyches, and it's definitely impacting our interactions with each other. We are less social beings, even though we have social media. You get me? We got social media, we're less social. We don't interact with each other as much. We don't feel the need to synchronize our electromagnetic fields with each other. This is what grouping does. When we group with each other, just like women's periods synchronize, you don't think men synchronize or brainwaves synchronize, or, you know what I mean? Like, because we're electromagnetic beings at the same time. So even socially, it's impacting us having phones, let alone mentally. Now, mentally / physically, I can tell you about the lack of development in the frontal lobe for children. This is something that's scientifically been put out there maybe 10, 15 years ago now, right? They've discovered that the use of smartphones and electronic devices has inhibited the growth of the frontal lobe of the children. Now, the frontal lobe is the part of the brain that is often associated with what? Empathy. So what we're seeing is a lack of ability to even have empathetic frequencies or thought processes going through your mind. And we look at our children, we look at society, and we think to ourselves, how could they have such a lack of respect for life, and how can they be so callous to each other? But like, technology is there inhibiting the way that our children's minds are even growing and functioning. So for this study, just to say, basically, if you stay off your phones, you're a lot healthier. If you stay off your phones, your brain does a lot better. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all. That being said, maybe it'd be a thing for us to all factor in 2 weeks in a year where there's no phones and no internet. Maybe that should be a thing. Do you know what I mean? No internet day. When I remember, I tried to turn off the Wi-Fi when I go to sleep. I tried to. I used to do it religiously. I definitely turn my phone off, put my phone miles away from me, sometimes in a different room. Definitely do that. If you're one of them people sleeping with your phone right next to your head, yeah, slap yourself. Yeah, because when the small print of your iPhone says, keep this device 1 point something meters away from your body. It tells you to keep the phone away from your body. When I was younger, when hands-free first came out, right? When hands-free first came out, there was loads of reports, loads of concerns saying, whoa, hold on, these earphones are magnifying the radiation from the device and sending it directly to your brain by putting it into your ear, right? And it's like that research or that information just kind of just fizzled out, went quiet, and people don't talk about it no more. Yeah, and now we all got Bluetooth headphones. We all running around with these things, rare, and we're cooking ourselves. You know, a lot of this technology is the first wave of technology, and we are the first generations experiencing it, meaning that we don't have 50 years worth of research on what the effects are, right? So, you know, I know some brothers have developed like pouches that have got this kind of lining in it to protect you from radiation. I know some people, it was a few years ago, all the rage was to have like shungite. You got a shungite chain, a shungite rare, because shungite was supposed to counteract radiation and the effects of things. I'm just saying, just bringing awareness to it. I'm sure we all know that phones are probably not good for us, for our mental health, the mental health decline, attention deficit incline, it's all sorts of ramifications anyway. And like I said, the way we interact with each other, whatever. So maybe we should just do without phones for a while. Maybe pick a week in a month or a year, or 2 weeks in a year. And I think that's light to just have no phones. Go out into nature. Leave your phones in the car. I know this is the perfect start of a fucking horror film, isn't it? This is how all horror films start. Let's all just leave our phones. Next thing you know, you got this slasher. Like, you get me? Chasing everyone down. But fuck it, man. You know, we survived. We lived without phones and the internet for a very long time. And now we feel like we can't separate from them. So yeah. I thought I'd bring up that story. Hello? Jeff Bezos' wife or girlfriend, Oprah Winfrey's best friend, Gail, and Katy Perry. What have they all got in common? They left the atmosphere and went into space for 11 minutes, or it took them 11 minutes to get there, or whatever. They was up there for 4 minutes. Whatever. Experiencing weightlessness and whatever. It's come under scrutiny because a lot of people feel like this was fake.
Flynn, I got you. Oh, the moon. You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. Oprah watching her best friend go to space.
Oh man, Nate, this was, I don't know, I got chills, I got tears in my eyes when I first heard the enormous burst of sound. Our friend, our colleague Gail King, and the rest of the Blue Origin crew heading into space.
This is the biggest load of bullshit I've seen all week, trying to make out that these donuts are astronauts and this is some sort of amazing achievement for women, when these Muppets were literally there for about 10 minutes.
It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
The worst part is when they came back down, not only because they actually came back, but because of the fact that they started kissing the ground, like they just come back from some crazy space mission.
Katy! I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No, what's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart?
And is that Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule?
You don't find that suspicious?
The best part was when we got back in our seats after 0 G's, Katy sang "What a Wonderful World."
She did?
Nice. She sang "What a Wonderful."
I kissed a girl and I liked
did take summer last Friday night. Yeah, we danced on tabletops. Now I'm here in space.
Oh my gosh. Got it?
Amazing. Look at the moon.
Oh my god.
I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
Oh, God, pause. Can you imagine being an actual fucking astronaut? You trained for 93 years. You're literally a fucking genius. You went to the Air Force when you were 18 years old. You worked your ass off. You read 1,000 billion books. You did like 40,000 fucking hours in space, learning everything.
You lost your kids
and
on
this
Jupiter?
fucking lizard no, you're not.
My tolerance for things that you can call feminist is very high. Like, I really don't care when it's bubblegum feminism and you put it on a t-shirt. But this, I'm exhausted. I can't take it. And
Why are you exhausted, Rebecca?
I mean, don't get me wrong, beautiful reporting, but listening to that package, my eyes almost rolled out of my head. When Oprah Winfrey said that she'd never been so proud of Gayle King, a respected and important journalist, and apparently the most impressive thing she's ever done is sit on what's functionally an Uber to space. That is, they got in a taxi. They sat in a I've done that this morning. My fiance just ferried me on the school run. That's not very impressive either. And what makes me so gross is that NASA have been very clear. These women are not astronauts, apart from the one that is an astronaut. The American Aviation Authority also very clear. Not an astronaut. A 2-day training program wouldn't even get you to be able to serve drinks on an EasyJet flight. The idea that these people are using the same title that astronauts who train for their whole lives are using is it's risible, and I hate it.
No, like, I'm so sorry, but I actually don't give a f that you went into space. I actually don't give a f that you went into space. Dare I say it? I actually think I kind of hate you. I kind of hate you for going into space. Like, genuinely, not to be the friend that's too woke, but how much CO2 did you just burn? How many billions of dollars did you just spend that could have gone to climate change? And you calm down from your 30-second orbit in space, and you kiss the ground, and you say, we need to thank Mother Earth. We need to save the planet. You just burnt so much fucking CO2.
They went to space for 11 minutes. This is America's goddamn problem, and that's why the other countries be laughing at us. Land of the free and the home of the fuck out of here, because I thought these women were staying up there for at least a month. 11 minutes? How much that cost? The kids been starving. The homelessness is insane. Everybody don't even qualify for food stamps no more. The eggs... The footage don't even look real. It looked like it came from a motion picture from the 70s.
Explain to our audience why even a trip like this one, all the trips that we take into space benefit mankind.
So it benefits humankind, and I'm going to keep correcting the mankind and the man-made and the man missions, because this is exactly what this mission is about, is expanding the perspective.
Man, shut your bitch ass up.
Now, since everybody's taking the piss out of these Muppets, one of them has actually hit back.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, you have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride. You know, we duplicated the same trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day, pretty much. No one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey, because a ride implies that it's something frivolous or something that's lighthearted. There was nothing frivolous about what we did and the machine that we were on and what it took for the people to get that machine up and running, to get us up and get us back down safely. So, you know, I'm very disappointed and very saddened by it. And I also say this, what it's doing to inspire other women and young girls, please don't ignore that. I've had so many women and young girls reach out to me, and men too, by the way, men too, that say, wow, I never thought I could do that, but I see you doing it at this stage of my life. Who would have thunk it? Not me. And how inspired they are.
Now, this guy says women did not really go to space like the media is portraying. They didn't actually experience microgravity either. Yes, technically the rocket delivered passengers beyond the Kármán line, the internationally recognised boundary of space at 62 miles, but they really just hit that point at apogee. There was no orbital insertion, not even close. The brief state of weightlessness during the ascent and descent was not due to escaping Earth's gravity, but because of a combination of freefall and the absence of a supporting force. Similar to the sensation of being weightless at the peak of a roller coaster. Essentially, they were falling towards Earth, and the absence of the rocket's upwards thrust simulated a feeling of weightlessness. Basically, it's a capsule launched really high and then it immediately falls back down to Earth. All the floating around the drama and Katy Perry's girl power bullshit is fake. She's not a damn astronaut, she's a Hollywood elite who thinks she's special.
Now, I saw the shuttle landing. It didn't look real to me, but what do I know? I believe if they wanted it to look real, it could look real. I believe there's many things that are not real that they've made look so hyper real. I've never even had the mind to even judge. So I don't know about this one. It just looked funny when it landed. The plume of smoke, rare, and then there was the scene of the door opening from the inside, and then them closing it quickly. And then Jeff Bezos basically miming using a tool to open a door that's already been opened, which makes you wonder, why would you do that? Why would they do that? For the photo opportunity, it just makes you wonder. Plus, when you look at the amount of training you're supposed to need to do to be able to go out into space and become an astronaut, it just makes you think, this is a bit strange, right? It does feel a bit strange. So you let me know if you think that Katy Perry went to space, because I kind of doubt that Katy Perry went to space. I doubt it. Denalva's just walked in the building.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
Hey.
Have a seat over here, please.
Yes, boss.
No.
Wagwan people, them.
Intruded! Right. Huh? No, I'm nearly done. So, yeah, Katy Perry being in space just sounds weird, and it just looks fake. Me personally, tinfoil hat. I don't believe that man is really going into space, or men are going into space per se. So space travel and space and all of that, I think that there's some real doubts in my mind about the authenticity of it. And things like this kind of compound it. When they said SpaceX went off to what, I didn't believe the SpaceX thing. Now Jeff Bezos with his blue, what is called Blue Velvet, Blue Mirage, something like that, right? I don't know. What they're trying to say is they want to do commercialized space travel, and they want to be the first to like kind of put the flag down. So it's like a space race between Bezos and Elon Musk, and I think they're chatting shit, personally. It looks fake. I think it's fake. Katy Perry came out. Like Katy Perry had a daisy, and what the boffins are saying is, if you take a daisy into space, it will be affected. Just like if I picked a daisy now, it will be affected. If you take it into space, they're saying that certain things would happen. It'd become this and that, and the molecular structure, and it would turn a bit yellow, and da-da-da. It just looked as fresh as when she went up there. That's one of the things. The door opening is another thing. The way that this shuttle landed, the way the shuttle even looks, is just mad. Plus, it's Katy Perry. It's Katy fucking Perry. Going to space. What are we talking about?
She's a white woman, though, man. They can do anything.
I don't know. We gonna talk about what white women could do in a minute. Alright, cool. Boom! This sad news, Chinks. Sad news, everyone. Sad news, Maverick. By 2050, people are speculating by 2050, Garys could be extinct. By 2050, they're saying in the UK, there could be no more Garys.
I mean, who wants to be called Gary?
Well, I know.
Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, any of you lot that's looking to have children, it could be an option. Like for you, like Gary, because you know we're looking for individual names and that. You might not have to do JAMAICANS. Yeah. You hear me?
What do you mean? What's a better name, Gary or JAMAICANS?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I prefer JAMAICANS, but I know I prefer JAMAICANS, but do you know what I mean? I'm never calling my child Gary. But yeah, so listen, I think what this story is actually saying though is it's like a subconscious little drop, and what it's actually saying is that the good old British institutions of like having a Gary, is gonna be wiped out, because they're gonna let you know in the next breath. I didn't read the rest of that bit, but I guarantee you they're gonna tell you the most popular name in the UK is Mohammed. You know what I'm trying to say? You know where it's going, isn't it? So they're letting you know about Gary, but what's the most popular name? Mohammed. So this is another thing about what they call it, the replacement theory. Yeah? Replacement theory, that white folks are going to be replaced, or your culture. So everyone's battling for culture. It's culture wars this year. Identity wars this year. You know, identity politics is kicking off. And so now they're just letting you know that the good old institution of Gary is going to be done by 2050. So I think this story is going to make people name their ute Gary. I'm not even going to lie. Someone's going to be like, no, I'm not having that. I'm going to name my ute Gary. So big up Gary. Get me? What they're saying is, it emerged that there have been no children named Gary since when? When do you think? When they say this is the last time a youth was named Gary?
2015.
No.
For it to be done by 2050, it would be like 1980 something.
1992, bro.
Oh shit.
No.
That sounds bad, isn't it? But I mean,
No new Gary since 92.
Gary was never the greatest name. Sorry.
It's Gareth.
What about Gareth?
Gareth don't count. Yeah, Gareth don't count.
Yeah, that's
Get me?
Gary.
So yeah, Gary, if you're a Gary, write in the comments, please, and don't lie, please. All Garys are welcome except for Glitter.
Of the whole name.
Yeah, no. That's why. That's why. That's why. All right, man. So I feel like I've reached the end of my 2 pence. It was short and sweet. I didn't go for too much newsy stuff. Only so much times I can talk about Trump. You know what I mean? And whatever. And I didn't want it to be too much doom and gloom, because I noticed last one it was like, oh, this child has died and that man has died and this woman has killed her children and this man has killed his girlfriend and and they were important news stories that brought up some good interaction through the week, yeah. But this week I just wanted to do it a little bit different, touch on some things that maybe a little bit fun or a little bit more light-hearted or whatever. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Look out for the clips. Look out for Speakonomics landing on Thursday, 7:30. And look out for some of the new content that's going to be, you know, we do before we speak. So you'll see it and then I'll chat about it. Right, and we're done. We're out of here, man. Big up Maverick on the ones and twos.